The phone call came like a knife in daylight. Her voice, shrill, urgent. Not for me, but I heard every word. "For the house!" My mother-in-law screeched through the receiver. Her command carried like a verdict. I froze where I stood, coffee cup trembling, ears burning as her son, my husband, listened in silence. 30 minutes later, he stormed into my workplace. His fists weren't questions, they were accusations. He pinned me to the wall, eyes bloodshot, spit flying as he demanded, "The new PIN code! Tell me now!" My coworkers stood frozen, afraid to intervene. I didn't cry, I didn't fight. I just felt the world tilt, the weight of something larger pressing against my chest. This wasn't about money. This was about control, about bloodlines, about a house that wasn't mine to begin with. And I realized this wasn't my husband speaking. It was his mother, bleeding her venom through his voice. The beating was only noise. The real damage was silent. Inside, something fractured. I went home that night in silence. His apology never came. Instead, I found her voice again, echoing through the walls. "You keep her in line. That house belongs here, not with her. Her. Always her." I wasn't a wife. I was an intruder. The bruises on my ribs were nothing compared to the bruise spreading in my mind. Because it wasn't the first time, not the first demand, not the first time his hands had followed her orders. At first, I told myself he was stressed, overworked, misguided. But lies unravel in small details. The way his phone was always face down, the sudden late nights, the smell of perfume that wasn't mine clinging to his shirt when he came home past midnight. He had secrets, and she knew them. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hollow rhythm of his breathing beside me. My chest burned with something sharp, something steady. It wasn't just fear anymore, it was suspicion. And suspicion is a seed that never dies once planted. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I watched. I began with the little things, receipts in his pockets, half-erased messages on his phone, passwords carelessly scribbled on scraps of paper, a name repeated twice in his call log, a lipstick shade too bold for me on the rim of his glass. I visited the bank quietly, requested old statements, saw withdrawals that didn't match his stories. The money I thought was for the house repairs, it wasn't. At work, I kept my head low, pretended normal. At home, I measured my silence like a weapon. He mistook it for obedience. He didn't see the storm beneath. I ordered a DNA test in secret. A cruel thought had haunted me ever since his mother's words twisted in my ear. The house belongs to blood. Blood. Whose? The envelope arrived, sealed, heavy. My hands trembled, but my face stayed calm. I didn't open it yet. I needed the timing, the stage, the performance. Betrayal deserves an audience. The night I chose was ordinary. Dinner on the table, his mother calling again, whispering venom from the other end. I slid the envelope across the table. "Open it." He frowned, suspicious, but tore it anyway. His hands shook when his eyes scanned the lines. Not his child. Not his blood. The fork slipped from his hand. His lips parted, searching for words that weren't there. "Say it," I whispered, voice calm as ice. He couldn't. He collapsed back into the chair, eyes wide, veins bulging. His mother's voice echoed from the phone, still clutched in his palm, screaming questions she couldn't see. I sat still. No tears, no screams, just silence. And silence was louder than any blow he had ever landed. He begged, first with anger, then with fear. "I didn't know. I thought, she told me." I cut him off with a single look. His excuses were nothing compared to the truth on paper. I stood, gathered my coat, and left the envelope open on the table. his mother's shrill voice still bleeding from the phone as she demanded answers he couldn't give. He followed me halfway to the door, but stopped when I turned once, calm, deliberate. "Now she knows," I said softly. The words struck harder than any hand. His mother would destroy him for failing her, for letting the house slip from her grasp. I didn't need to raise my voice. The truth itself was the blade. I walked out into the night, the bruises still aching under my blouse, but my steps steady. The house behind me was no longer mine. It never was. It belonged to them, their lies, their blood-soaked legacy. What was mine now was freedom. He would live with the shame. She would live with the disappointment. And together, they would rot under the weight of the truth I had placed between them. No reconciliation, no pity, only silence. And silence, I learned, is the sharpest revenge of all. I didn't slam the door. I closed it gently, so he would hear nothing but the sound of his own ruin.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.